Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. Hi, my name is Sher. So nice to have you here. So today we are doing a Jawbreaker skull inspired by the new Jeffree Star Jawbreaker palette. Basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just outlining where I want the bones to be. I made a mistake, so I'm just going to rub that off and start again. For the neck, I'm gonna draw like these mini gobstoppers that have the tops cut off so you can see like the colors through there. You'll see what I mean when we get towards the end. But basically for the bones and the ribs, I just used a reference picture of a chest, like a skeleton chest, and Googled that and copied the layout basically. I did have a little bit of trouble sort of figuring out where I wanted the bones to be, and you can see that I'll wipe it off and change it around all throughout the video, so apologize for that. I am not a body painter. Like, I can body paint, but it's definitely not my biggest skill set. I'm still learning. I haven't done a skeleton before, so this is fun. I'm drawing a big jawbreaker around my eye. Now it's funny, in Australia we call them gobstoppers, so if I switch between the two, that's why. And I'm going to block out my brow, and I just go over with a wax stick, and I do this a couple times. I use the wax stick and the spoolie, and I just basically spread the hairs out and try to get it flat. Then I go over with a metal spatula and I really like press that eyebrow hairs down. I really don't want it sticking up. So then I'm going to go in with some Pros-Aide, and I'm just going around the eyebrow there, and I'm going to wait for it to dry, and then I'll set it with powder, and then I'll do it again. I'll go back over with the Pros-Aide, let it dry, and then set it with powder again. If you do this maybe like 3 to 4 times, you can really get a solid brow block, but I was a little bit lazy. Then I'm going to draw 2 big jawbreakers on my shoulder. This is just so I can get an outline. Then I'm going to take the pink paint. I mixed pink and red to get this darker sort of pink color. I don't know why I started with my forehead. That was a mistake. I'm going to fill in the nose. I forgot that piece, so I'll do that now. And then I'm going to fill in all that empty space with the pink. I realized that my ribs were too small because I had all this empty space on my chest. So I really wanted to make sure that I was utilizing all the space I had to try to keep the bones proportional. Now I am so excited for this Jawbreaker collection. It's currently almost 2 AM and I am just trying to get this video up while I'm waiting for the palette to launch. I'm so excited, can't wait to use it. It's going to be awesome. I don't really have much pastels in my collection. So now I'm going to fill in all the bones and the jawbreakers with white face paint. I'm just going to sort of follow the outlines that I laid down before. If I don't like a shape, I kind of go back in and change it, and you'll see I kind of change it a couple times depending on where I want the colors to be. So that's what I'll do, and I'm going to fill in the jawbreakers on my neck, but leave that little space open for the colorful colors we're going to put there later. And I'm just going to continue to fill in these bones and these empty spaces. Now I don't really own anything from Jeffree Star right now, but that's because I used to work at Inglot and I just never bought any makeup while I was working there. I realized the other week I actually don't have a lot. I have a lot of Inglot stuff, but I don't have a lot of anything else. So I've been filling it up. Now I'm going to go back in between the ribs and all the other blank spaces and fill them in with that pink again, just to make sure that I've got that shape down packed. And I realized that I needed to round the ribs a little bit more to make it look a little bit more realistic, like they were actually curved, and you'll see me fix those up now. And then I'm going to go back in and make sure everything's a little bit more solid in the colors in the bones, because they're looking just a little bit too faded at the moment, and I really wanted them to pop against that pink, and it wasn't working. So I wasn't filming at this point, but basically what I did is I filled in that jawbreaker around my eye, and then also did a little bit of an outline in the red paint and filled in those darker patches. And now I'm going back in with some white just to lighten up the center of the skull, and then I'll go back in with some red paint to get that definition around the edges to make it look a little bit more skull-like. I realized that I wanted these bones on the skull to be white as well, so you'll see me go back and forth with that white face paint to try to get it to look a little bit more white and a little bit more like bone. I'm just using a sponge with like a little bit of water on it to mix it, and then I'll pat out the other side, which is dry. Now make sure you leave your lips blank at this point, because once I didn't when I was doing a body paint, and my lips were so dry, and I licked them, and of course they were dry because the paint was sitting on them, and it tasted terrible. So I definitely do not recommend covering your lips at this point if you are going to do a full face paint. And then I'm going to go back in with the black for the nose. I'm just going to fill that in with a little bit of red, and then highlight with some white in the center, because I really want to try to get these highlights to pop against the black. I love blending with my finger as well. Okay, then I'm going to go around the outlines with the black now. I wish I'd done all my shading before I did the black. The black made it really difficult, and you'll see what I mean a little bit later. But basically now I'm just filling in sort of the outlines where I want to do some shading. And I'm going to go back in with a red and a little bit of water, and you can see that the colors mix together and it goes quite dark. It gets very, very muddy very quickly doing it this way. It's so much easier to just do a smaller thin black line and then blend it out with shadows later. But I didn't do that because I don't even know why I did that. Probably inexperience, and I realized after I'd done it, but then I just kept doing it because I didn't think it was that bad, but it was a nightmare. So I just do this to both sides, and then I add white to add back some definition because I lost it with all that black eyeshadow. This paint would have been a lot quicker if I had have done things properly from the start. I recommend doing your black outlines at the very end because it can get really messy. So do your shading first with the colors if you're going to use face paint, and then do black last. So always work from light to dark with these ones because they spread. I'm going to outline all the bones now and just get them really defined. Now for these mini jawbreakers, I am just going to do the outside. I'm not going to go on the inside at all. I want to keep that nice and light. It was really, really hard to get these bones to be so similar on each side. I feel like they weren't, but I did quite a good job considering it was my first skeleton that I've painted. Are you guys going to be picking up the Jeffree Star Jawbreaker palette or no? I'm curious. I really love the color story in this one. And this is where it gets a little messy. You see, it kind of turns into like a purple red and it just goes out of sorts real fast. That's why I said it was better to do all your shading before you put the black on, but of course I was silly. So you'll see me constantly going back trying to lay down more red to fix it, but then it just keeps getting more purple. It didn't matter too much in the end. I managed to get it all fixed up. I'll go back through constantly to get the shading and then fix up the white in the bones. Just really want to get lots of nice definition between each of them. And I'm just going to blend out that space all on my neck as well, because I can kind of disperse that color a little bit more in those bigger areas. Oops, so I'm going back in with that red now. As you can see, it dripped all the way down, but that's okay. You can fix it up. And this is what I mean. I just went back and forth with the red and the white, just trying to get the bones the way I wanted them to, and the colors in between the way I wanted them to. And I feel like it turned out pretty okay in the end. This was a really fun body paint. I had a lot of fun doing this one. At this point I was like, oh, I should give up because this is not going to plan. But of course I stick through because I know that sometimes it looks crap in the beginning and then turns out great. And I'm going to go back in underneath the eyes and around the jawbreaker with that red paint. I really just want to get some more definition around the eyes to make it look like a socket of a skull, if that makes sense. And the sponges are great to blend them out, or even a brush just that's dry really gets it to work into the other color. Then I'm going to go over the lips now because we're towards the end now. And I'm going to make them nice and dark because we want that to sort of act like the gums behind the teeth. And then I'm going to draw the teeth on individually, so kind of like teardrops or raindrops. So more full and round in the bottom and then a lot thinner towards the top. I make a few mistakes in this section, but you'll see I'll easily fix them up just with like a little bit of red paint. Like that one was like way too long, but I'll just go back in and sort of fine tune things, just make sure that I'm happy with how they're looking. And I bring the teeth all the way to the edges there where I've done that black outline into the sockets there. Great, and now I'm going to go in with a deeper red, so a little bit darker than the pink. This is going to be the gums, and I'm just going to go around each individual tooth, just to make sure it's nice and crisp and the teeth are looking nice and good. And I'll blend out those edges there with my finger and just tap it out so that it sort of blends all together. Then finally going in with the black, again doing the same thing, going right along the edges of the teeth in this one and not blending it out. I want it to be like a severe outline to mark the teeth. It makes them stand out a little bit more, gives them a little bit more definition. And right along the middle of the lips there, I'm just going to color in black. My mouth is so dry. And then I'm going to go in with some concealer on my eyelid because the paint's not great if you're trying to do eyeshadow. And then I'm going to grab some black eyeshadow and just blend that all into my crease and underneath my eye, not being particularly neat with it. And then I'm going to grab some glitter glue and stick down a sparkly pink pigment. This one is so beautiful, it's just so sparkly. Then I'm going to fill in my waterline and pop on some mascara on that eye. And my other eye was cracking up so badly, so I just wiped off the white paint and I'm going to reapply it shortly. I actually forgot about it. And then I'm going to do some shading with some darker pink eyeshadow just to get that one nice and deep and have some depth there. And you can see me shading along the outer edges of those gobstoppers on the outside. This is the fun part. I just grab each color of spray paint, blue and yellow, and I'm using a toothbrush to do these splatters. And this is where I realized I haven't filled in my eye yet. So I'll quickly do that, and then I'll just put a little bit of powder on top. Even though you don't need to, just stop the cracking a little bit. Now the key to getting a good splatter with this one is to put a lot of water on the brush, and it just makes it really wet and gets the paint to just like fly off. And you can see what color I'm using if you look at my thumb. So I've used green and now I'm on red and now I'm on purple, looking at those splatters. And I just am trying to focus it mostly on where the jawbreakers are. Now I'm going to go around all the outlines again just to make sure everything is nice and crisp, because we kind of lost everything. I realized that I needed to do it last anyway, so we have a lot of definition now. It's not getting lost behind all the paint splatter and the red that we laid down. And now I'm going to fill in those mini jawbreakers, and I'm just going to do like little rings in the middle. And I didn't really know what I was doing at first, so I feel like they got better as I went up. So if I could do it again, I would do the really bad one at the top first and then go work my way down. I'm going to pop some mascara on my other eye and then chuck on some lashes as well. And I realized that my ears were peeking through, so I'm just going to quickly paint them so they don't like look like skin peeking through my hair. And then that's it, guys. That's the final finished paint. I hope you like it. I had so much fun doing this paint, and it's I just love that it was inspired by the Jawbreaker palette. So if you want to see more videos in the future like this, make sure you hit subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys, have a great night.